Hey guys, Juju22 here, and we are back with our permanent show that is Intermission, and we're going to start with Kevin Owens. Now, you may not have known who this guy is, but he is probably one of the up-and-coming wrestlers in the WWE, and we're going to find out what his intentions are right here, right now, because as far as I understand it, he has something to say and he wanted some time to talk about it. So, with that said, I wonder what he's out here for. Let's find out right now. Oh, he wants to get right down to business, and he's asking Sami Zayn to come on out. Now, of course, for those of you who have been watching your WWE, you would know that him and Sami Zayn for the longest time, absolutely, I mean, these guys were friends, then they became enemies, and I wonder what he could be calling him out here for. And, well, there's Sami Zayn, and, of course, he's more than happy to oblige. But of course, I don't know what he could be calling him out for, though. That's the thing. So what does Sami have to say about this? He's surprised to hear. Yeah, I'm surprised too, but he is interested in hearing him out. So let's get on with it. What do you have to say? Yeah, what do you have to say? If you want something, you got to take it. And I think the best way to do that is with someone watching your back, and that someone is you. Are you in? Let's do what the best tag teams to ever grace this division did. Let's change history. Yeah, I agree. If that's what these two are here to do, then who am I to stop that? When we're headlining WrestleManias, running this company, kicking people out of the crowd for looking at us the wrong way, you and everyone else will realize this moment is what started it all. Oh yeah. I don't disagree with that, actually. An unprecedented alliance, two men who are ready to dominate the competition in ways never seen before. The entire world will never, ever be the same. Well, you know, that might very well be true. Well, I'll tell you one thing. They have formed an alliance, have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But I'll tell you one thing. If this is the start of something big, oh boy, these two men could very well form a team. And we'll see how that works out. But we have our first match, and that's coming up right after this. Alright, match underway, and we have ourselves an 8-man battle royal. And of course, it's very, very simple. The last man in the ring after all others have been eliminated will win. And of course, the one who wins will get a championship opportunity whenever they so wish. And of course, you have the tag team of the New Age Outlaws in Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass Billy Gunn, whatever you want to call him, the Road Dogg Jesse James, Neville, who is the Cruiserweight Champion, and John, who was in there, former 24/7 champion, already eliminated at the hands of Billy Gunn. And of course, Billy Gunn is no slouch in the ring by any stretch, but already John is out of the match. I mean, you also have Neville, you also have Bobby Roode, James Bond, and Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. As Orndorff, well, he tried to eliminate Billy Gunn, and he tried it again, but it failed. And Paul Orndorff again trying to eliminate Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn fighting back out and fighting back in the ring, I should say. Excuse me. Oh, nice big boot onto Kane, and and James Bond as well. I almost forgot to mention him. Nice half Nelson suplex onto Roode. I mean, of course, the favorite has to be Kane, as well as Billy Gunn, who is the second biggest in this match. And Roode has been eliminated by Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn looks to be in the driver's seat for this match, but again, Kane is the equalizer of this whole thing. And out goes the Road Dogg, Jesse James. So now we're down to 5. Nice takedown on a Kane. And as I mentioned before, Neville is the Cruiserweight Champion, and if he wins, well, he'll get an opportunity at the United States Championship against CM Punk. I mean, he'll put that Cruiserweight Championship on the line, if not vacate it for the opportunity at the Intercontinental Champion, or the United States title. Excuse me, my fault. I had the wrong championship. But nonetheless, though, and a massive uppercut onto Mr. Wonderful. But then you have the other Mr. Ass, and now Kane is going to help Mr. Ass take out Neville, and Neville holds on, though. I mean, out of all the cruiserweights that we have, Neville has definitely got definition. I mean, he's got great upper body strength and great lower body strength for a man his size. But again, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Oh, nice neckbreaker on a Kane by James Bond. And James Bond, he could be setting up for the Walther PPK on Kane, which knocked him out, but you got to get him over and out. That's the number one thing. And now Mr. Wonderful going after James Bond. Meanwhile, Kane going after Neville. And Kane now going after James Bond. And out goes James Bond at the hands of Kane. And as I mentioned before, Kane and Mr. Ass are the top favorites in this match. They're two big guys. Of course, I wouldn't want to count out Mr. Wonderful just yet. Although I might have to, because he just got eliminated. So now you have the two big men, the two biggest men in the match, and probably the smallest guy in the match. Then a spine buster onto Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. Although Neville has a hold of Kane, and I'll have to accept that at another time, but in the meantime, nice counter on a Kane, and a drop toe hold face buster onto Neville, and a knee right to Neville. And wait a minute, the one and only, that's what he calls that move, that reverse slam, or I don't know what it's officially called, but that's what he calls that move, the one and only. In the meantime, Mr. Ass trying to eliminate Neville while Kane is on the floor sleeping, trying to recover. And and we are live here in Reno, Nevada, in a bingo hall. Although Kane gets right back up, and now we're back to Mr. Ass. Nice counter by Mr. Ass. And Kane just slapping him down. And now Neville setting him up for it. Clotheslines Mr. Ass, and now we're down to Kane and Neville. And a nice Tiger suplex onto Kane, and I'm surprised Kane was taken for a suplex. Oh, and a rake in the face of Kane, and Kane, I wonder what's wrong with Kane, and, well, Neville really missed that, that Phoenix splash, but a jawbreaker to Kane. Oh, then a cutter onto Kane. Then a backflip onto Kane. And another cutter onto Kane. Well, Neville's doing the right thing. He's trying to weaken Kane just enough so he can set up for the elimination, but I mean, that's exactly what you got to do. You got to weaken Kane, then you got to get him up, although he just goes down for another cutter, and now Neville going to the top rope. Oh, the red arrow! Red arrow, but of course, normally he'd go for the pinfall cover, but you can't go for the win. You can't win by a pinfall. You have to throw your opponent out. But he may be on his way to doing that. And Neville trying to get rid of Kane, but Kane is... I'm sorry, but Kane is a little too big for Neville. Yeah, forget it. It's going to take more than that to get rid of Kane. And Kane just pounding his back just like that. Snapmare. Oh, and then a running boot onto Neville. And another series of punches onto Neville. Oh, nice arm drag on the Kane. Oh, and a nice enziguri on the Kane. And Neville could be moments away from getting the win, but it's very hard to do that to a man the size of Kane. But let's see. Nope. Kane fights back out of it. And a backside slam onto Neville. Uh-oh, Kane. I think Kane is setting up for the win, and now a choke slam onto Neville, and this could be academic, folks. Oh, he could do this again, only this time over the ropes and onto the floor, and your winner is Kane. I mean, this match was fast and furious, but in the end, Kane outlasted all of them, and he is on his way to a championship match. We'll find out what kind of match he's going to go for, or what championship he's going to be going for, rather, excuse me. But in the meantime, Kane will summon the flames of hell. And I just noticed that Kane is dripping blood, so he must have gotten busted open, but of course you really can't see that behind the mask, but he was losing some blood. But other than that, Kane wins the match, and we have 2 more matches yet to come, so stay tuned. They'll be coming up right after this. Alright, match underway, and we have ourselves a real crazy match. We have a 3-on-3 a 3-on-3 TLC match, and it's the team of Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, and Bret the Hitman Hart against the team of The Miz, Triple H, and the British Bulldog. And of course, The Miz and Jericho are rivals. Triple H and Daniel Bryan are rivals, and Bret the Hitman Hart and the British Bulldog are rivals. So you have 3 different rivalries intersecting, and it's basically the good guys against the bad guys. Of course, another thing to mention is that the person that wins the match for his team will get themselves a championship opportunity, as Chris Jericho just power slammed or power bombed The Miz. But again, it's the person that gets the ladder and climbs it and retrieves the contract that's on the ceiling will be the one that wins it for his team and gets himself a championship match at the next show. And British Bulldog had the chair, only to get it knocked away from him by Daniel Bryan. And Bret Hart has a chair now. Let's see, who is he going to use that on? Oh, he uses it on The Miz. And again. And, well, not sure what happened there, but a running Bulldog by the Bulldog onto Daniel Bryan. And now it looks like Triple H and Chris Jericho are going to go at it. And of course, there's no love lost between those two. And then you have The Miz and Bret Hart. Of course, Bret Hart beat The Miz to become United States Champion on Monday Night Raw back in 2010. So of course, Miz has not forgotten about that. And of course, The Miz and Daniel Bryan have also had some history with one another as well. Not to mention the fact that Triple H and Bret Hart also feuded with each other through the D-Generation X Hart Foundation rivalry that happened in 1997. But right now, Miz is going to climb up and retrieve the briefcase that has the contract that will give him a championship opportunity and give his team the win. And now Daniel Bryan has his hands on the briefcase. And Daniel Bryan holding on. An electric chair drop, and it could have been a lot worse for Daniel Bryan had the British Bulldog not caught him. But now in the ring we have the British Bulldog and Bret Hart, 2 long-standing rivals. But then a back suplex to the British Bulldog. And now Jericho on the outside setting up a ladder bridge, so to speak. And thrown over the top rope is The Miz, and out goes The Miz. And meanwhile, a pile driver onto the Bulldog, and that could do it. I mean, what a way to win the match and stick it right to the Bulldog. Especially since the Bulldog was the one that turned his back on Bret Hart. And down goes Bret Hart. I mean, he also knocked down his teammate Triple H, but it was a sacrifice he was willing to make, given how much he hates Bret Hart. And a DDT onto Chris Jericho, and then a ladder shot onto Triple H from his rival, Daniel Bryan, using the ladder as a weapon. Now Triple H has the ladder, but then gets hit and gets beat by the punch by Bret Hart. Excuse me for the stuttering. I just want to make sure I get the names correct. But now Bryan setting up the ladder, and he could be going up and getting the Money in the Bank briefcase. A back suplex onto Bret Hart. And Chris Jericho pulls Triple H off the ladder. And Another electric chair drop, and part of his body landed on the ladder. And then a chair shot onto the Miz as he was standing on the apron by Chris Jericho, his rival. I mean, their rivalry goes back to last season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and Daniel Bryan has been busted open at the hands of the British Bulldog. And now, nope, never mind. And meanwhile, taken down by Daniel Bryan. Meanwhile, Triple H throws him over and out. And now Triple H goes onto the ladder. As does Bret Hart. And now, wait a minute. Hart, what's he doing? On a suplex onto Triple H right up against the ring ropes. That has definitely got to put him out. And then a power slam or a military press drop onto Daniel Bryan on the outside by the British Bulldog. And now wait, Chris Jericho, what's he doing? A power bomb onto the Miz, breaking the ladder in half as well as the Miz. And Bret Hart has won the match for his team, for him, Chris Jericho, and Daniel Bryan. So they each get a win over their respective rivals, but it's Chris Jericho that gets a championship opportunity, in spite of the fact that he already has an opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship at the next Super Show. But of course, a little extra gold on the side wouldn't help, or wouldn't hurt, I should say, excuse me. But Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, and Daniel Bryan get victories over their respective rivals. But I have a feeling that the rivalry between themselves, or rather their rivals and themselves, are not over. That is for sure. But we still have matches yet to come, so we'll be back right after this break. Alright, match underway, and I almost forgot to mention that tonight's episode of Intermission, we bring you the roster, or the era of superstars from 1970 to 1989, taking on the superstars of 2010 to the present. Now, of course, some guys will bridge the gap from the 1990 to 2009 era, but other than that, that's what the superstars we have. And already a neckbreaker onto John Morrison. Is that it already? 1, 2. Wow! I mean, I didn't even get a chance to hype out this match, and already Hawk does a number on John Morrison, the guy that he just pinned and beaten. I mean, that was so quick. I didn't even get him a word in, really. But, I mean, John Morrison, of course, is no pushover, but of course Hawk is a legend. No doubt. I mean, he just put away John Morrison like he was nothing. Just like he was a scrub. I'll tell you what, we'll go to our main event, and that will be our last match for the night. So, until then, that was short. Alright, we're ready for our main event here in Reno, Nevada, and let's see who do we have first. We have Animal, formerly of the Road Warriors, and unfortunately they have broken up, and we already saw his former tag team partner Animal, or Hawk I should say, excuse me. Animal's the one coming down to the ring. But Hawk made short work of John Morrison, and we'll see if Animal can do the same to his opponent, which I highly doubt will be the case, considering that, you know, well, John Morrison is not exactly a scrub. I mean, John Morrison, he was Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground and was subsequently the Lucha Underground champion for a time. He's not the champion anymore, but John Morrison is no slouch, but Hawk made a statement. I mean, he jumped on him from the opening bell. I mean, he just came in full force and made short work of him, and we'll see if Animal can do the same to this guy right here. Yes, you know who this guy is. I give you the man, the myth and legend on YouTube, I give you Markiplier. And of course, while Markiplier isn't, well, I mean, Markiplier is probably right up there among some of the best. I mean, but he, and of course he has a loyal fan base and is very loyal to that fan base of his. And of course Animal is not impressed. But of course Markiplier, he's just trying to make a name for himself. And already Animal just going right after him. A gut wrench suplex. And just like that, Animal is going to look to beat the piss out of this guy. And, wait a minute. 1, 2. Are you serious? Not even, wow. I mean, I didn't think it was possible, but I mean, Markiplier was in obvious pain, but before he could get up, he got hit with that body splash and a pinfall. I mean, there you saw it, but Animal, I mean, I was hoping that we would have a much more competitive match than that, but instead, Animal made short work, so I guess Animal wanted to let Hawk know that, hey, anything you can do, I can do better. Well, I'm afraid he proved it, but man, that was 2 short matches, man, I'm telling you. But I'll tell you what, though, stay tuned for our next show. Our next show, we will have our next show. We will have the 3rd round of our King of the Ring tournament for the 1970 to 1989 era, and somewhere down the line we'll have the 2nd round of both the King of the Ring of 1990 to 2009, 1990 to 2009, as well as the King of the Ring of 2010 to the present, King of the Ring 2nd round as well, somewhere down the line. But until then, this is your host with the most, the Blue Toad to Jew22, signing off. Until then, have a good day, everybody.